So for the Wi-Fi antenna, this repair, obviously, if you can't connect any Wi-Fi networks, if the range maybe isn't as strong as it should be, so you'll want to try to troubleshoot first to see if it is the Wi-Fi antenna not working. But a couple ways you want to troubleshoot is you're gonna need to check the phone. So here's the pin from the board to the Wi-Fi antenna cable there. So when the phone is together like that, this pin and this sensor basically touch, and that helps to create your Wi-Fi signal. Well, what happens sometimes, this pin on here, maybe it's bent out, kind of bent sideways, or maybe it's down, and you can usually kind of lift it up very gently, but lift it up to give it a little more volume and reconnect with that piece. If that doesn't work, then you can try cleaning this, either kind of scraping it lightly or with an eraser. You can try cleaning that. That might fix it. If that doesn't, you may want to replace it or the housing entirely. It's up to you. But this antenna itself you can pop out, but it's probably easier to replace the housing. You try that. If it still doesn't work, then you'll want to solder a new pin on the board, and we'll go to that right now on the close-up. So you have the board here, and I like to use something to kind of hold it in place. You can put it on maybe a piece of particle board or something, and tape the board down just to keep it from moving around. So you want it kind of secure. But there's the pin from the board to the Wi-Fi cable on the housing, and what we're going to do is replace that. So with your soldering iron, usually want it around, 800 degrees or so, but I'll use my tweezers, pinch and hold the cable, and just slowly run the soldering iron over the pin itself. What you're doing, you're just kind of heating up and loosening up the solder that's attaching the pin to the board. And once it gets hot enough, you should be able to loosen it up. Now you really need your soldering iron to be pretty hot. But you can see on the bottom side of that, whoops, you see on the bottom side the solder on there and the solder on the board. So what you want to do, level that solder out on there. You get your new pin, and there's actually two spots to solder on. There's the main part, and then there's a strip right here, kind of by itself. And when you put the new pin on, you want to make sure that you line the base, the main base up, and that little strip up as well. So it's kind of a little horseshoe looking almost. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a tiny little, basically a little gap in between, and you want the strip to line up with the strip on the board, and then the main part of the pin to line up with the main part of that soldering, the big square. So once you get it, you just kind of get it right in place and just set it over the area with your tweezers. Just line it up. Work the heat again, and you should feel it drop right down into place. And once you get it connected properly, you'll be able to move it back and forth, and it should be secure. And then you'll want to inspect it. And I usually have a little eye loop or something that I can look in it, check it out, and make sure that it is connected how it should be. And then again, you want to put it back together and test it. But worst comes to worst, if you have to change the pin out for the Wi-Fi, that's how you do it.